Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
KFI AM 640 is Friday on Later with Mo Kelly, and we're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. Yes, put up your hands and say, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. We're moving into the weekend, and it's been a very long week, I think, for everyone, be it the weather, be it work, preparations for Valentine's Day. There was a lot going on this week. And speaking of the weather, did you see the story, which broke actually yesterday? We didn't get a chance to get to it, about the tornado which damaged multiple mobile homes in Oxnard. Now, we've had fires, we've had floods, we've had mudslides. And to think, I mean, yes, it's happened before, but to think now we also have to be on the lookout for tornadoes. I'm a city boy. I'm a city boy from Los Angeles. I have no idea what I would do if there were a P2 or a P3 tornado which would touch down in LA. I have no idea what I would do. We don't have basements out here. And I know Mark Ronner, good evening, Mark. You know what it's like living in the Midwest or even on the East Coast. Everyone's got a basement.
Yeah, and I had to cover a lot of tornadoes on my first newspaper job in the great state of Indiana. You didn't notice how tough it was for me to choke down the great state before I said Indiana?
I've never seen a tornado touch down. I've seen a water spout, but I've never seen a tornado actually touch down live in person. I probably would freak out.
I can tell you that no matter what you may have seen in movies, it's not recommended that you chase them in a truck.
But they do.
Yeah, don't do that.
They do. And people die every single year from tornadoes. I don't know what I would do. I probably would freak out if I heard like the air horn sound, and you get like what, maybe 2 minutes to get to shelter or something like that.
They're not great if you live in a mobile home.
No, because structurally speaking, they're not as solid. They're not going to give you as much protection as any other structure.
They just come right apart in one of those deals.
When you were dealing with tornadoes and covering them, how did you approach it?
Well, people died and lost their homes. It was serious. I mean, sometimes, people would get lucky and it would blow through and miss something heavily populated. But it's not a joke when a tornado comes through.
Well, what happened here in Oxnard, dozens of structures at the Ocean Air mobile home estates were damaged, including carports and mobile home roofs. Winds reached up to 75 to 90 miles an hour yesterday. And this is the National Weather Service. Quote, a National Weather Service damage assessment team has confirmed a weak tornado occurred in Oxnard on Thursday, February 13th. The tornado tracked from the Country Club Mobile Estates to Ocean Air Mobile Estates in South Oxnard. I get it. If you're from the Midwest and you come out here, it's probably no big deal. It's like, that's not even a P1, no big deal. And I know when people come out here and they say, oh my gosh, earthquakes, I don't know how you deal with it. I get it. If you've never been in one, you have no reference point for one. It could be a traumatic experience. I've had a lot of transplants lose their ish, as they say, the first time they experienced an earthquake. I've experienced, I don't know, how many thousands, most of them I've slept through over the years. It's no big deal. But I admit it. I'm man enough to admit I would freak out if I saw a tornado touch down in front of me, especially here in California. I have no idea what I am supposed to do other than run away from it.
Get in the tub, get in the basement, avoid it at all costs.
My mother's family in Detroit, they had a basement, and I know that it was basically a full house under the house. It was a complete floor. I think it's like 4 bedrooms under the house. But in California, I know some people have basements, but it's really not customary.
Yeah, that's weird. Where I grew up in Spokane, it was the same layout. It was like a whole nother floor. The basement was as big or bigger than the main floor of the house. But here, and I looked this up, apparently most houses around here don't have basements because they were just slapping up houses as quickly as they possibly could. So it was a speed of construction thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I had to do it all over again, I would look to have a basement, because in the way that it can be kind of a pain in the ace to have a second story, a basement is a great entertainment center. You can have a complete pantry down there. You can store a whole lot more in a basement than you can in a typical 2-story house.
Oh, and you can tell people it puts the lotion on its skin. There's all sorts of advantages of having a basement.
Coming up.
That didn't take long, did it?
No, I thought we were going to get there a little bit later in the show, given it's Valentine's. But speaking of Valentine's, tonight's show is for the lovers. Let's say you celebrate Valentine's, or even if you're alone and you're missing someone, tonight's show is for you. We're going to tell you about Antonio Villaraigosa's divorce and how, get this, I did not know that you could actually list your Netflix account as one of your assets and one of the things that you're asking for in a divorce. And Antonio Villaraigosa asked for his Netflix account in his divorce and got it. And I'm thinking like, dude, you could sign up for another account. Why is your Netflix account so damn special? I would give mine up in a heartbeat. It's like, I'll just get another one. There's nothing on there for me that... What is it? Are they downloading Googobs of movies or something? I don't know.
And even then, there's limits. You can't download limitless episodes of whatever. Right. That's weird.
It's petty. It's weird, and it's not a flex. No. It's not a flex. But at least he got the Volvo. We're going to talk about that. And the Rana Report is going to be more like a Rana Report, Nerdorama, going around the room. First will be the Rana Report. Mark Rana will give us his review.
The warm-up.
Yeah. Of Captain America, Brave New World. And then in the next segment, the rest of us will join in because we all went to see it last night and had varying experiences.
My experience involved watching Foosh kill a whole bucket of popcorn on his own.
Well, wasn't that a big ass bucket?
Yeah,
it was really so impressive.
Oh my gosh, it was huge.
And what else? Like an order of mac and cheese.
Oh, the mac and cheese balls.
Oh, but the mac and cheese balls were really good.
Those were.
Oh, great. I had some of those. Yes.
Well, my point is that's a superhuman amount of food to eat. I mean, I was impressed with that. I couldn't do that.
No, they're only like 8 balls.
Where do you want me to go with that?
To break?
Yeah, please.
It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Tonight's just for the lovers. Maybe you have a spouse. Maybe you have a significant other. Maybe you have a baby mama and a side piece. It's all about the lovers tonight. Don't laugh at that. I'm being serious, okay? Side pieces need love too.
I would never judge.
Side pieces celebrate Valentine's Day too.
They're people. They're human beings.
On
Side
February
pieces have feelings.
On February 15th.
That's right. That's their day.
That's their day.
In other words, if your significant other, for whatever reasons, is not answering the phone or is on a supposed business trip and it's just unavailable on a day like this, then you're probably not the principal. Never mind. LA County Board of Supervisors They're urging landlords to rent to displaced wildfire victims. LA County Board of Supervisors Chair Catherine Barger specifically is asking local property owners with available rental units to help house displaced families. But understand that displaced renters will be responsible for covering their rental costs similar to any other private market tenant. And going back to the whole private market tenant idea, Mark, what do you think I'm getting ready to say about the cost of living and rent here in Southern California if we had done something different back in November?
It's a total mystery. If only I had some context to place this in after 4 years of knowing you here.
And didn't you do a story not too long ago about price gouging here in Southern California?
Only constantly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if we have price gouging and a lack of rent control, and you have a public figure, LA County Board of Supervisors Chair Catherine Barger, saying, hey, tenants, if you have available rentals, please rent to displaced people, but they know that they're subject still to the terms of the rent. I'm guessing, most likely, probably, definitely, that they're going to be paying a higher rent than they would normally pay.
From what I've been able to observe, they're doing right up to the level they can get away with until they're stopped.
Yes.
Which is why we have these rules that people are trying to institute.
But we have voted down rent control 3 times now in the past, 7-8 years.
Well, it kind of exists. This is one of the reasons rent control exists, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It was one of the many reasons, but it's glaringly obvious in moments just like these, because rent control provides protections for tenants. Now, you may not have thought that you didn't plan to be a tenant, or you didn't plan to move in that untimely fashion because of the fires, but here you are in a situation. And we know that housing is at a premium right now because of the fires and the literal thousands of people who have been displaced because of the fires. And they still, look, some people have been given money by FEMA and other agencies, and that has helped pay for the hotel for a short amount of time. That's not a long-term solution. Ultimately, people have lost their houses, and they're going to need some form of long-term housing, which will most likely be a rental situation. If you are wealthy enough to have your house burned down and you can immediately buy some other property, then God bless you.
That's not most of us.
That's almost none of us. Almost none of us.
If I'm remembering right, it's still 60% of people who are living paycheck to paycheck.
And not only that, let's say you do own a house. Not everyone can just buy another house without selling the house that they already have.
The carbon that used to be a house.
How did you know I was going there?
Sorry, go ahead.
You can't, you can sell it, but you probably won't get market value for what your house was before it burned down. But what do I know? Twala Sharp, what do you know about this?
I know that right now the poachers and would-be land barons are running around the Palisades and Altadena trying their best to get properties, just land, covered in all the soot, ash, and debris. They're trying to get it at less than market value, pennies on the dollar, because they know people are in a desperate state. To me, what I don't understand when I hear, statements like this from, be it the mayor, be it the governor, be it the LA, County Board of Supervisors, whoever, when you say, hey, apartment owners and the like, please rent some properties to these individuals who have been displaced by the wildfires. Not forgetting the bad taste that was left in their mouths after they did not come through with what? All of the COVID funds that were supposed to go to them, leaving a lot of property owners in the lurch. So now you're saying, hey, we know we did not come through the last time to ensure everything was okay, but this time we really need you. They have some nerve even asking, even though Even though, yes, as someone who would like a short-term lease or something while we are just trying to get back to Altadena, oh yeah, no, I would really, really appreciate that. And oh wow, that would be great for me and my family to have a place past the month to month that they have us on with, FEMA and insurance and this, that, and the other, where we're like, so next month are we homeless or what? No.
Let's assume that you lost your home, but you still have your job. Let's just assume that. Rent in Southern California is astronomical, and you probably need to rent a place which is still somewhat in close proximity to your job. You just can't, lost our house in Altadena, so why don't we just get a house in, Bakersfield?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you don't have that option, and maybe you lost a house and a vehicle in a car. Imagine that as well. But that aside, if you're going to get a rental and it's going to be above market price because of the extenuating circumstances, you're probably going to pay anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 for a 1 or 2 bedroom.
How did you know? Have you been out there in the market looking? How did you know what they are charging for basic closets in the City of Angels and thereabouts right now? Damn the price gouging police that claim they're out there. Oh no, they're like, hey, no, this is just what it is right now. $5,000 a month for this 1 bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Literally one room, not a bedroom, just a room.
Lose a house, can't afford a room. Let me say that again. Lose a house, 3-4 bedrooms, can't afford a room. Can't sell the house because it's ashes. I guess you could sell the lot, but it's going to be pennies on the dollar.
Pennies on the dollar.
And you're supposed to find at least temporary housing in the meantime. And no disrespect to Supervisor Barger, but she's saying, landlords, out of the goodness of your heart, not your pocketbook, make some overtures and make sure if you have available properties to rent, which is already ridiculous, if only because it was difficult enough to find a place to live. Housing was already scarce prior to the fires.
Yeah.
Now you have 30 people trying to get one apartment because of the fires. It's going to go to the highest bidder.
You know what would be really, really cool? And this is just a wild idea. Because I don't know if you've been following the news, Mo, but there have been a lot of organizations that have raised hundreds of thousands upon millions and millions and millions of dollars in support of wildfire relief efforts. Yes. I believe the governor himself was like, we are going to put every nickel and dime we can towards making these people whole. I remember these reports.
It was relatively recently too.
Relatively. I'm confused as to why Supervisor Barger or anyone else isn't saying, hey, landlords, right now, we have checks for you where we will put down the money for these short-term leases.
Yeah, just subsidize them.
Subsidize it right now because we know how long it's going to take to rebuild this. A lot of these individuals who are displaced, they don't know. They're being told 6 months to a year, 2 years, could be sooner, could be later. They don't know. Why don't you just say, hey, either we are going to subsidize the leases for these individuals, or we are then going to make it mandatory that these organizations that have raised funds actually give the funds to these individuals so it's not an extra burden on them for something that's really and truly not their fault.
When I was growing up, there was an old saying, and it goes like this: that's too much like right. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, we have to tell you about the latest trend when it comes to thieves. And it's actually something that we've kind of hinted at and warned you about. But Burbank police are warning against this particular crime, which is going on. And we'll tell you about it in just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
I see my job. This is just how I see my job. I see my job as very instrumental because I might be the difference in someone getting some and someone not getting some. So I'm going to do all that I can to make sure that everybody gets some tonight. All right? Do what you want. Do what you like. Just don't name it after me. That's all I ask. I don't need any payment. I don't need any credit. Just don't name it after me. Bank jugging according to the Burbank Police Department, is on the rise. And the Burbank Police Department describes bank jugging as the practice of criminals sitting in bank parking lots and watching customers come and go, targeting people carrying bank envelopes, money bags, or coin boxes. And then thieves will select a customer they believe to be in possession of a large amount of currency and will follow that person to their next destination, at which either they'll break into the victim's car or directly try to confront and steal money from the person. And what have we always said on this show? What have we always said? First and foremost, be aware of your surroundings. There's someone always watching you. And me, I try not to go to ATMs at all. Like if I need money, it might be at the grocery store and I'll get cash back on the purchase, because when you go into the bank, they know you're trying to make a monetary transaction. And if you use an ATM outside the bank, they know that you're going to get money 999 times out of 1,000, not deposit money. And they're watching you, so they're going to see you take money from the ATM. I try, if I need to do anything banking-wise, I go inside the bank. And most banks now, not all, but most banks will have an interior ATM. In fact, those are the ones that actually can give you more money if you know anything about that. If I should need cash in a pinch and I need to go to an ATM, I'm using the one inside. So when I come out, I'm not holding anything. You're not seeing me pull out my wallet so you know where my wallet is. You don't know what business I might have conducted in the bank. I'm just someone who's walking in and walking out the bank. So if you're sitting in the parking lot watching me, you're not going to know anything about what's going on with me. And here's an actual true story for me. I had to use an ATM at a bank. It was about a week ago. And it was the first time I used an ATM in at least 8-9 months. There's really no need for me to use an ATM because, again, if I get money, it's going to be cash back at the grocery store. But I went inside the bank. It did not have an interior ATM. I said, what the hell's going on? But it was Torrance. It was broad daylight. So I didn't think, I was not as concerned about getting jacked at this point because I was actually pretty close to the Torrance Police Department as well. So I wasn't worried about that, but I'm always aware of my surroundings. And if someone were watching me at the ATM and did see me get some cash, I knew where I was going next because I was already aware of bank jugging, to take it back to the story. If someone wanted to follow me for the $40 I pulled out the ATM, well, they'd have to follow me all the way to KFI because I went from Torrance to Burbank. That's a good 35 miles, and it took me a good 2 hours that day to get to work. So if you want to follow me that whole time because you think I had a lot of funds on me, well, that was just going to be a waste of your time. And then I was going to pull into KFI's garage, which is security access. And then I was going to get into the building here, which is limited security access. It's going to make it very difficult for anyone who is just going to follow me and try to rob me. But these are always the things which are on my mind whenever I'm making any type of monetary transaction. Whenever. And I think that should be the rule of thumb. If you're going to the bank and you're going to withdraw money, don't you dare step outside the bank holding an envelope, because everybody knows what that is. Don't you dare actually carry in your hand some sort of zip up or coin purse or anything which suggests that you just made a monetary transaction and you took money out of your account, actual cash. These things should be common sense, but as they say, common sense ain't all that common. They call it bank jugging, but this has been around for, I don't know, ever, where you're just waiting for someone to be caught slipping at an ATM. Maybe it's new, and I say new because this is the Burbank Police Department. It may be new in and around Burbank in this particular community, and this particular community may not be accustomed to seeing it. But wherever I lived, it was always in the city, usually in the heart of the city, and it was always understood someone is watching you when you're at a bank or at an ATM. Always. And I don't know if you've ever done this, Tuwala, but if you ever had to use an ATM, and let's say they're two side by side, in some banks, I don't think like a Bank of America, you may see two or three ATMs, Wells Fargo. I always, in the past, because I haven't done it recently, I always announce my presence if there was someone already in the ATM and I needed to use the ATM next to them or close by. It's like, I'm on your right. Mm-hmm. I'm always announcing my presence.
Yeah. How you doing today?
That's right.
Something like that.
Something.
Remember, this was, I think we were on the air when this happened, actually. It was in 2023, around October 2023, when that, what would be called a jugging happened on the 110.
Yes.
There was the intentional crash where they set the driver up. And for all appearances, when you look at that story, this is an individual who had left the bank and had, for some reason or other, got into a car wreck. And when he pulled over, another van swooped up where three individuals hopped out that vehicle to rob him of the finances that he just took out of the bank.
Yeah. And I hear from a lot of people, it's like, Mo, you should have more cash in you, because for the most part, I'm like using a debit card. And they say, well, you shouldn't use a debit card. It's dangerous. For me, I think cash is more dangerous, because for me, whenever I'm walking somewhere, it's like, hey, do you have spare change? No, I do not. Can you? No. How about this candy bars? No, nothing. And I don't have to engage anyone. And every once in a while, someone will get smart. It's like, oh, you can spare $1, brother. It's like, stay out of my wallet.
Yeah.
I don't have to justify anything. And so I don't ever want to put myself in a situation where I have to pull out my wallet or feel the need to explain anything. You're not going to see me, for the most part, using any cash. Just not. And that's the safety thing. And they say, yeah. Debit cards are more susceptible to theft. Yeah, but I also know I can call my bank and get all that taken care of after the fact. So I'm not really worried about that. Now, Mark, if I encounter him on the street, I'm going to punch first and ask questions later.
I know what you can afford. Just use the jaws of life and crack that purse of yours open, you cheapskate.
It's a man purse, okay?
Whatever you say, okay.
KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And when we come back, we're going to have the Lovers Interlude. Think about, Tawala especially, Stefan, Mark, when you were a little bit younger, we would make mixtapes, and we have these ways of seducing would-be Valentines, encouraging them to be romantic with us. I'm going to take a walk down memory lane and show you how the real players did it once upon a time.
You mean like I still do?
Nice.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 is Later with Mo Kelly. That's just for the lovers. That was the Lovers Interlude. Maybe you forgotten that spark that you had with your significant other, and that reminded you of when you were best as a couple. Here's a little secret. True story. Many years ago, when before I had met my wife, and even before I met the woman I was dating before my wife, when I was singing karaoke, I'd always sing that song, especially if there was someone in the audience that I thought I could impress. And maybe, karaoke was great for the conversation starter. If you could kill a tune like that, it was an instant icebreaker. You could sit down and she'd probably give a compliment. Oh, you sang so nice. Oh, thank you very much. What's your name? And then all of a sudden you're in. And I'm telling you, karaoke singers got attention. And it got me thinking when I heard the song when I was in the car the other day. It's like it just brought back a lot of great memories, reminiscing, name of the song, Little River Band, of what men especially do. I would do to increase the odds in my favor of closing the deal. Even if you were in a relationship and you maybe wanted to set up something special for the night. I remember I would use, back then we had these things called cassette tapes. And we would put all of our favorite slow jams on these cassette tapes. We call them mixtapes. And then you would start playing that mixtape, or at least I would, at some time in the evening. And it was a way of getting her in the mood without you having to say anything. And all of a sudden, they would just drop. And you can figure out what drop they is referring to. Tawala, what were your secrets of the trade?
I had what became affectionately known as the Spike Lee Film Festival. And by the time I got to, I would always start with She's Gotta Have It,
which is a very sexual movie.
Very much so. And I would go from She's Gotta Have It right to School Days. And
which is very sensual.
Very sensual. And if in that moment of pure sensuality in School Days, it wasn't already going down, well, then Mo Better Blues knocked them right off. Literally knocked them off and said, you know how to
starring Denzel Washington.
Yeah, yes. I that was the aphrodisiac. There was something about showing those three films in a row that just, I didn't have to say much. We could talk about what was happening.
Mm-hmm. It was unsaid, but said.
It was, yeah.
Stefan, did you have any tricks of the trade that you're willing to share?
I was definitely not as smooth as that. That was like, that takes the cake right there. Spike Lee Film Festival.
Sex begins in the mind, young man. Always remember that. It begins in the mind.
So no tricks of the trade for me.
If you can seduce her mind, the body will follow.
See, Foosh, you are what many would call a wolf in sheep's clothing, because you can come across as like all fun and happy and, oh, look at me, I'm Foosh, I'm cool.
And all of a sudden it's like,
hey,
I'm
girl.
Safe around Stefan. He's so nice.
And next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, your shoulders are so tense.
Yeah.
You know, you can come over. So, I was a masseuse back in the day, and I'm telling you, they're just like, well, yes, Foosh, just like my shoulders are tense.
He'll start talking in Spanish and say, did you know I have green eyes? I'm Argentinian and los ojos verdes.
I'll tell you, look, listen to your boys. We will not steer you wrong. We'll steer you strong every time.
Mark, let's make you uncomfortable. What were your tricks of the trade?
I had no tricks. I'm learning a great deal. I'm learning a lot from the two of you, and I think it's best I just listen right now.
He had that loaded up like a bullet.
He was ready. He was ready.
He was waiting
ready to press
for you
play.
to be asked.
This is very educational, and I appreciate this information that you're imparting to those of us who were a little on the shy side.
Actually, it is pretty informational. I'm not going to lie, because I legit for a second thought he was talking about an actual film festival, and then when he started explaining, I'm like, damn, that's smooth.
No, the film festival was in his pants.
That's pretty well.
Oh my God.
Oh man. But to be serious on this Valentine's Day, and I know for some couples, it's very important. You want to make it very romantic, high expectations of one person or the other, even both people in the relationship or the side piece interaction, whatever it may be. Music is always appropriate. Music can do a lot of the work. Let's say you don't have the gift of gab. And I'm going to be a little bit impolitic and conceited for the moment. I've always had the gift of gab. Always had that. But if you don't have that, let other people speak for you or sing for you. Pull out some Marvin Gaye. Pull out some Little River Band. Pull out something that you know that she likes. Just start playing it. Don't say anything. Just play the music. Let the music do the work for you. And then you'll close the deal later on. That's from me to you. Mark, that's from me to you.
Thank you. I need that.
You said it was informational, so I thought I would give you some.
I was a shy young man. I missed more green lights than one of Tawala's Waymos.
Oh, my God.
That's a callback, Stefan.
Wow.
That's a callback.
Wow.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
What's that? Oh, my idea of a perfect Valentine's Day? Watching from afar as a certain KFI host belches, scratches their belly, and picks their teeth with a pen cap. And I think you know who I'm talking about.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.